Why did I ever do it so wrong? Do you ever start a project and then get so bogged down in like the decisions and roadblocks that you just put it away and come back to it hopefully soon? And in this case, a whole year. So that is what happened here. I started this project over a year ago and I hit some roadblocks, things that I didn't know how to do because I was really beginner sewer then. I'm still a beginner sewer, but I've learned a lot of stuff already just in the last 6 months, let alone the whole year. But anyway, this poor project got neglected, it got left, and I think it's time. We need to finish it. I think I have the skills that I need to make it work this time. So anyway, let me just show you what it is. So this piece started out as a very, very large dress that I bought at the thrift. And it was definitely handmade, custom made for somebody. And it was a dress, and I was like, this is a blank slate. It's so much fabric. It's so much fabric. So I decided first to make the bottom pants. I knew I wanted to do that because I wasn't gonna wear it as a dress. And I did okay for, again, not knowing much back then. The shape is okay. But then the top, I was gonna use the existing top, but the seam line was like here for the top. And I feel like it should be a little lower perhaps. So I used these Lucy and Yak, this is Lucy and Yak one piece as a model to get the shape for the legs and the idea for how long I want the waist or the chest panel to be, I guess. So I left the back and I spent so long before I decided to take the front off. I spent so long trying to finagle this so that I could get it on and off, slipped on and off without having any buttons or zippers or any other necessary enclosure. So I left the back and I used this fabric to make the front. This is a Debbie Mom vintage fabric that I got on Etsy during like a big old thing. Anyway, very cute, and this is all I could make with the fabric that I had. So I hope that I can make it work because, again, this is all the fabric. So two things that were problems with this that made me stop and quit this whole project are there needed to be a dart in this front shoulder seam, which I didn't know how to do then. And then also I think the sides weren't quite long enough. So easy fixes: add a dart, maybe add some side panels, sew the whole thing together. And before it was pleated and there were like 30 pleats on the front, but now I know how to do a gather, so I'm just gonna gather it. It'll be so much easier and quicker. So hopefully it will inspire you to find a project that you abandoned that only needed maybe 2 or 3 more steps and revisit that thing, get it done. So anyway, that's so much talking. Let's get into it. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also made this cuff on the leg. So I did that, and I only did it to one leg, so we'll also have to do that again. And that's been over a year, so who knows how I'll do that. All right, let's do it. So first I'm just gonna sew together the side and shoulder seams of the front and back and see what we're working with before I make any changes, because it's been so long since I'm done. So far it's looking like I'm gonna have to restart this whole top, because what was I even doing here, bro? What? This is so rough. So it's like way longer than it's supposed to be. I think I underestimated how much growth I've had in the last year, I guess, is what it boils down to. Just making it up here, huh? Why did I ever do it so wrong? Okay, that is the top together. Okay, so is it weird that this fabric is only on the front? I didn't have enough for the back. Hey, I don't know. I think it works though. I'm not too worried about fixing all the stuff that I did really wrong before, honestly. Maybe someday I'll come back and do that, but. All right, so next I'm gonna gather this up and sew it to this piece. So luckily, we have a seam in the middle, and we also have, I think, a fold mark in the middle. How do we get right side together? Okay, I guess first we'll just do it with the length because we need to gather everything. It's gonna be fussy anyway. And then we'll line up right sides together. All right, so sorry for the abrupt transition, but here we are in the spirit of this project. I hit a roadblock, I got stumped, I picked up other projects, I went on vacation, and we're back a few weeks later to try and finish this thing in one fell swoop. So what I did was finish the gather on the front and sew on the front. That was the only thing I think that I didn't show on camera. And the problem is the sides. The sides, I didn't have enough fabric, it's not long enough. So that's kind of where I stumbled and took a break, but now I've rethought it. I think I'm gonna do some ties on the sides. Hopefully there won't be any slippage. But today I've just got 5 steps. We've got 5 steps to do left on this thing. So let's do at least a couple here. We're gonna start by trying it on and raising the crotch. So I was trying it on and I realized that the way that I did the crotch is just slightly too low. I'm a thick thigh girly, and I know there's gonna be chafing. So I thought maybe I would just raise the shoulders a bit, but I'm gonna put it on and we're gonna see how to fix that. And then we're full speed ahead with finishing the top. There's also the cuff on the bottom. We're not gonna worry about any of that. We're taking it one step at a time today. Okay, I'm just gonna take off some of the shoulders and the back. I'll see if I can still get it off. Definitely feels better. All right, let's move on to step 2, which is to finish the seam around the neck and the shoulders. Okay, so because I'm on limited fabric, my first thought is to just iron all the way around and see how thin of a seam I can make with the iron. So let's get the iron out. And I think it's just gonna be a single fold. I know that's bad, I know it's terrible. It's not good technique, but you know what, I'm learning from this, powering through. We're gonna finish it. It's all a process. I'm just gonna fold in all around this neckline very carefully. Here is our seam, or our hem, gosh, not seam, hem. What do you think, a quarter inch hem here? I think first I'm gonna test it, just this part, and then I'll go ahead and do the shoulders the same way if it works well. Luckily I only have to do the front because I already did the back. Not a great job, I should probably fix this, but need some white thread, I think. If you didn't notice, I decided to hang up all my Debbie Mom fabrics that I have as a little decoration, trying to make my space a little cuter, a little more interesting for you to look at. So I have my vest that I made a couple weeks ago for the Ren Fair, which is one of the projects that distracted me from this project. And then I have all my Debbie Mom. There might actually be one or two missing, but they're all amazing. We've got the friendly felines, the cats, which is what started my obsession because I thrifted this a little lore here. Thrifting lore. I thrifted this shirt for Karis, this denim shirt with these cat patches on it. And I thought it was like so freaking cool. I loved it. And I gave it to him, of course, because it was more his size anyway. Long story short, in a fit of obsession at one evening, I found out what it was. I found all of the fabrics that Debbie Mom ever designed on Etsy. And I picked my favorites and ordered them all, and on eBay. So that's what happened, thanks to Google image search for fueling my hyperactive fit obsession. Who knows what it was. Anyway, we're just gonna do a straight stitch all the way around this collar, and hopefully that will look finished enough. Could be worse. All right, I think it's good enough. And if it looks really bad, we'll just add some binding. So I gotta do the other parts, but first I'm gonna eat some dinner and then we'll finish this and maybe we can do one more step today. Okay, so the top is almost done. I did all the hems and I tied just some string on here to see how this tie is gonna work. It's kind of in a weird spot, but I think it'll be okay. It's kind of slouching weird. If I get this tied nice and tight, that should do it. Okay, it's too hot. I need to take a break and sit in front of the AC, and I'm gonna finish this tomorrow, hopefully. So we have just a couple steps left. Stay with me. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. I started the day by sewing 2 darts, so one on either side underneath the armpit, just to make the shape a little closer. And then I moved on to figuring out these ties. So I wasn't sure exactly what fabric, so I was trying some different ones, but I think that I ended up with the right one, which is this red fabric with these white polka dots. I think it's going to be perfect for these ties. So to start on the ties, I ironed out my fabric, and then I decided to fold it in half so that it would be easier to cut a nice long line. And I decided on a 1-inch strip of fabric for each. I actually don't know how long these were. It looks like about 23, 24 inches long because it's in half. But I found that this size was perfect for the ties, but not perfect for the process. So next I folded it in half and I just pressed it with my fingers just so I wouldn't have to pin the whole thing all the way down. So then it would be easy to just throw it in my machine and just keep the edges together as I went without pinning or anything. So just a straight stitch all the way down with the smallest seam allowance that I could possibly do.
so that I could turn these out. So that's the hardest part here, is turning them out. So I did use the safety pin method. It was tedious and long and frustrating with how thin I decided to make these straps. I did it to myself, but it was really hard. Especially with this safety pin, it was like just small enough for the channel. So eventually I did get this whole thing turned out, and once both were turned out, I stuck my like chopstick in them just to kind of straighten them out, and then I ironed them really, really well with my iron to get a nice straight line for these cute little ribbons, I guess you could call them. And then the last thing was just to cut them in half, because I used the length of the fabric, and I decided each one would be 2. So I cut them in half. I thought that was the easier way to do it in this case. And then they were ready to get sewed on to the fabric. I am so pleased with how these little ribbons worked out. The fabric and the pattern and the color fits so perfectly with what I already have. But when I put it on my body, I realized that we need a second ribbon for this gaping hole to fill in. So back to the sewing machine to make 2 more long ribbons that we'll cut into 2. So we'll have 4. So I don't know if it was that my fingers were already so tired, or if I accidentally made these straps thinner than the first round, but they were so hard to do with the safety pin. I tried to use a crochet hook, also did not work. And because my fingers were so sore, I just decided to take a break from this for the night and do one more other step, and come back to this tomorrow with fresh eyes and fresh hands and less frustration. So taking a break from the tie step, we are on to the cuff step. And what I decided after much deliberation was just to take this cuff off. I only did one, like I said. I did it in a really weird way that I don't want to repeat. It doesn't really make sense the way I did it. And I think that the other leg that doesn't have the cuff looks totally fine. So to save time and energy and sanity, I think we're just going to take off the cuff, and I think that that was the right choice. So, moving along in this project, that's it for tonight. Let's come back in the morning and really wrap it up. Okay, so all it took was a lot of time and perseverance and pain in my fingers to turn out these last few straps and a broken safety pin, but we got there, and now just the finishing touches. So just finishing up the edges of the little straps, any of the other spots where there's edges, cutting off extra threads and whatever, and just making sure that she is complete and ready for the review. And here she is, my revived green gingham jumpsuit. Handmade, thrift, flipped, upcycled, whatever you want to call it. I am so excited. I styled it with a little belt scarf because I felt like it broke up the fabrics a little bit and gave me a little more shape in this shot. But I also took some shots without it just to show where we're at. So it's not super symmetrical along the waistline, but I still love it. I think it is so cute. I think that in the future I will make changes to it and maybe some improvements because, as I like to say, clothing is a process and I'm always learning new skills and applying that to my wardrobe. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future, but this is just such a fun piece. It feels like an expression of myself, of my creativity. It has some motifs that mean a lot to me. I love the shape. I love the ties on the side. They came out so darn cute, and the polka dots, I usually don't like polka dots, but the way that they go with these other two fabrics, I think that that is the missing link that we had there. So I truly love this jumpsuit. I hope you do too. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the final product here.
All right, friends, I think that is a wrap on our green gingham jumpsuit video for today. I think we successfully revived the project. We did some good stuff. We learned some good stuff, and that's what it's all about. I definitely caught a lot of corners. I didn't do a perfect job of finishing this garment, but it is finished. It is an expression of myself, and now I get to wear it, and that's what matters to me. I'm so excited to have started this series because, of course, I have lots of abandoned projects, and I'm sure you do too, so hopefully you'll come along with me and we'll revive our abandoned projects together over the next several months. So let me know down in the comments what project you're inspired to revive before the end of the summer. It was so much fun to come back to this project, to rethink it, and with fresh eyes, with fresh perspective, and new skills to be able to make it happen. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this video, please give me a like, maybe a subscribe. I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great week. Bye.